fire, 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 fire. Oblivion was fried as fuck. I'm gonna replay it. I was thinking of replaying some old not Starfield, Jesus Christ, some Flash games.
Someone just had
so long.
I'm enjoying this more than Starfield.
A lot of adventure
I think that's
quests.
because this actually has a plot.
Old.
I like the idea. See, the problem with Starfield is it's the exact example of the fact that
Let's all play now.
Of pointlessness does not mean.
Holy shit! How many chats do we have on the screen right now? We got 1 chat, 2 chat. What is going on? We got chat over top of our chat, too.
The game is bigger and better. When people say to me, "Oh, it's going to have what's the phrase? The procedural generation. It's going to have procedural generation, that kind of stuff." Okay, procedural generation is good at making a lot of stuff, but it's not good at making bespoke.
We're all here, yeah. There's like 3 chats on the screen.
Well-designed
right
stuff. That's the way. If you were to go out to eat some food, would you rather have a really nice hand-cooked specific meal in which every single thing tasted incredible, but there was a decent amount but not too much? Or would you rather go out for literally endless amounts of flavorless slop? Now, some people might enjoy the
Sign me up for the slop, man.
Slop, but most people will want a smaller amount of quality. And this is what people aren't quite getting in the gaming world. And I swear to God, it is executives that don't play games that find this stuff impressive. When someone says, "Oh my God,
I love
this
slop.
game's going to be
you guys not like slop?
1,000 hours long," that's not a great selling point for a lot of gamers. Is it 1,000 hours of specifically well-written, well-curated, tight plot? Is it 1,000 hours of
tight like
mechanics, stacking mechanics, interesting, engaging, emergent gameplay that's been designed to be as good as it can possibly be? Or is it 1,000 hours of repetition?
I want 1,000 hours of fucking slop, man.
Of doing the same thing.
I love
just
that.
Procedurally generating the same
Tight
basic
slop.
thing again and again and again and again and again.
Ew.
And the only people that are impressed by how big a game is are the executives who are using this as a selling point. A 1,000-hour game is useless if you don't want to play it for 1,000 hours. I would very much rather play a really, really well-made 10-hour game instead of a really poorly made 100-hour game. Now, every now and again, you'll get a really well-made 100 to 200-hour game. They are very rare. We're talking The Witcher 3.
I felt that about Stray.
3. We're talking Elden Ring.
Typical WoW player.
Now, every now and again, you'll get a game that is massive and contains a hell of a lot of good stuff. You know, that's very, very impressive. The problem comes when you get 100 hours of gameplay packed into 1,000 hours of game. That's not that good. So when people say to me, "Oh, you've got to play this game, it's huge." Okay.
Who cares?
What's there?
Playing 100 hours of a fully made game. Why
to
not,
make something
man?
big than it is to make something good. I mean, I'm guessing that most of my audience, most of you guys we tend to be, and again, don't get offended, this is true. We tend to be a little bit older. You know, I'm not exactly appealing to the
Hold on. I still don't understand why there's 2 chats on the screen. Wait, they're both the same chats. Hold on.
12 to 15-year-old TikTok Zoomer generation. I'm sure some of you might be, 14, 15. That's fine. But the vast majority of my audience tends to be between 20 and 40.
Between 20,
and that tends
25
to be when
and
people
40.
have jobs, when people are at university or college, when people are starting families. And the appeal of a 500-hour game takes on a bit of a sour note. Have any of you looked at a game that advertises itself as being really bloody long as a positive and actually thought to yourself, "I now don't want to play that because I don't have that much time"? What's strange to me is that Baldur's Gate...
He was about to say Baldur's Gate 3. Is the sound desynced or is it me? No, not for me. I must be the replay or something. But he was about to say Baldur's Gate 3. He took a breath. I interrupted it. Dude, outside of like Baldur's Gate 3, no. Because Baldur's Gate 3, I played through and I had 150 hours. And then there was like more content that I probably unintentionally skipped.
3
so,
came out,
yeah.
which is 100 to 200 to 300 hours RPG, and then Starfield came out, which is a massive game as well, then something else will come out. A lot of people asked me why I didn't play Baldur's Gate 3. Two reasons. One, I wanted to enjoy it, and so I'm going to play it slowly. But the second reason is I want to finish it, and finishing a 300-hour RPG on stream is a difficult thing because I play at about 40% efficiency if I'm streaming. If I'm sat there playing a
because
game,
you're
I'm just
entertaining
playing.
people.
If I'm sat there making a video or streaming, in 1 hour, I'll probably progress for about 15 minutes.
That's why I find it difficult to play story games and stuff like that when I have to kind of pay attention to it and play it on stream. Because of my progression and also my ADHD, but like that's besides the point. It's hard to entertain.
I take a long time to
entertain me? Why are you gonna whip me, man?
There is no
it's
way
not
that
gonna
I'll
help.
Finish Baldur's Gate 3 on stream.
Be like, no, stop whipping me now.
There are so many super long games that I know that I won't be able to finish, so I do not bother starting. Because I want to play them in my off time and enjoy them. I've not even installed Baldur's Gate 3 yet because I'm scared it'll eat into my work. But Starfield was another example of quantity instead of quality.
I'm gonna move chat.
And I think this is
You guys
just
can be on his
indicative
head.
of the gaming
We have like chatception right now.
That the people with money, the high up executives, the businesses with money, don't
so
actually
much
care
chat.
about the quality
That's great.
of the
It's
game.
fucking
They care about the
fucking with me,
quantity
man.
of game that they can say
Are
they've
we
made.
kidding?
Because in their mind, more quantity of game means more money.
Mm-hmm.
Every now and again, you'll get a game that's small, focused, knows what it is, and is really good. Good example, Vampire Survivors. Factorio. They know exactly what they've got. Here it is. Doesn't need to be a huge extended cinematic universe.
And on top of that, people who play Factorio spend thousands of hours playing Factorio. I'm not even capping. Every single person I know that's like a fanatic or is a big fan of Factorio plays it for thousands and thousands.
This is the game.
Hours.
Enjoy it. That's it. Procedural generation works in games like Vampire Survivors because it's just giving me more of exactly what I want.
No, get Baldur's Gate 3. It's really good.
I kind of want a plot in my RPGs. In fact, this is a very
really
interesting
fun.
question.
Play
And I think that you need to be honest with yourself. Have any of you in the chat, and if you're watching this on a clip on YouTube, leave a comment down below because I genuinely I am interested in this. I'll talk about it on Discord later on. Have any
Chat,
of
are you listening?
originally started being really impressed by stuff like procedural generation? Really impressed by the idea of something being thousands of hours long and
not really. That's why I kind of laughed when No Man's Sky said that. I laughed at that shit. I was like, dude, this is so fucking dumb. I mean, granted, one of my all-time favorite games, Diablo 2, was procedurally generated. It just didn't feel procedurally generated until you played it for like literally like 2,000 hours. Yeah, like Diablo 2 is the only exception, or like roguelikes or whatever is like in general. Like that's kind of like the only thing.
then you actually played it and over the months, over the years, realized
NMS is good now.
it's
Yeah, but it was
actually
trash at
quite
the start.
boring.
That's why I'm saying that. Like when they
Because
said
that
it at the
happens a
start.
lot. People come and say to me, oh my God, it's going to be massive. It's going to be huge. It's going to be this epic quest. And then people do it and they're like, actually, this is quite boring after a while. It's like the people say, oh, there's unlimited quests in Skyrim. Are there? Or are there just like 6 quests that are repeated for the entire game? Constantly.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like when people come to me and say, oh my God, this metaverse is going to work. This NFT game is going to work. This procedural generation RPG is going to work. It sounds great. It's not fun to play. And
No,
because
it's
you
not.
can't quantify how fun something is to an executive, they don't care.
That's another thing that I hate about the whole the monthly user base, whatever it's called. Like the monthly user activity, MUA, MSU, whatever fucking word that stupid buzzword that fucking triggers the fuck out of me. I hate that when people bring it up, they're like, yeah, monthly users are so high. But what are you doing? You're actually just grinding the game relentlessly to like get any fun out of it. That's why I hated it when people started bringing up, oh my God, MSUs for Legion was so high. It's like, yeah, because you're grinding artifact power and doing the same dungeon over and over and over and over and over again to get your artifact power up. That shit pissed me off.
I mean, procedural generation does fit a certain genre of game. Things like Cluster Truck, where you just run forward. Things like an endless zombie horde shooter. Things like a parkour game. I think procedural generation would be super interesting in a game like Mirror's Edge. Imagine having a competitive parkour-style game where you and a friend have to constantly chase each other, catch each other, avoid enemies in a procedurally generated running landscape.
That's cool, because it all has to be different,
procedurally generated, and it works for that kind of game. What it does not work for is in-depth, story-driven RPGs. As much, anyway. I think I remember the exact moment that I got annoyed at procedural generation and realized it was crap. I was playing an old PC game called Soldier of Fortune. Don't know if you guys ever played Soldier of Fortune.
Soldier of Fortune.
My age with that. I had a friend who had it on PC, and they were like, "This is the most amazing game ever, Soldier of Fortune. When you shoot someone with a shotgun, their arm blows off and blood goes everywhere." And it was advertised as like this really gory game. And then I played it. I'm like, it's pretty good. And then there was a procedural generation mission mode, so I started playing it. And in one mission, I started off in the woods, and I walked forward, and I walked past a tractor. Then I walked forward, and I walked past a hay bale. And then I saw a building in the distance, and I killed the enemy. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Then I did another procedural mission, and I started in the woods, and I walked forward. This time there was a hay bale. And then I walked forward, and there was a building with a tractor next to it. And I thought, right, I can see what's going on with the procedural generation here, and
like, imagine if World of Warcraft was procedurally generated and then you could see the same trees and the same textures over and over again. That shit would make me so angry. Like, if they made that for Classic Plus, I
cannot deny this is a different level to the previous. But in another, more realistic way, it is not a different level to the previous in any way. When people say to me, people advertise games at me like I'm meant to be impressed. They're like, you can land on this planet and imagine walking forward and exploring a cave.
But then the cave is the exact same cave as the last 15 caves that you've been in there. Like, granted, in Fallout, it was kind of the same deal, but even then it wasn't procedurally generated. It was like, it was always the same, so you can't even say it was procedurally generated. I know what he's trying to say. It's just like in Starfield, it's like 10 times worse because it is quote unquote procedurally generated.
I've done that in many games. Has this cave been created by a designer? Has this cave been created as part of a greater narrative, as part of a greater plot? Because I pretty much explored a cave in Skyrim.
Different levels, same experience. Yeah, exactly.
City. They're like, oh no, you'll find nothing. That's not the same thing you think it is. When someone says to me, an amazing landscape. Look, mate, landscape-wise, you're up against Elden Ring. Who in Elden Ring took one of the elevators down and thought, oh, there's going to be a small cave, and then discovered an entire second city under the ground? That level of design is impressive.
That was awesome.
You would not get that in procedural generation. There is a point to it in games, but creating more unrefined game is not it. That's what procedural generation does. It creates a lot of stuff that doesn't relate to itself or to other things.
Yeah.
Good games need to do.
You're just creating content for the sake of content. It's like basically
procedurally generate and create Mass Effect from scratch. It wouldn't be able to create Baldur's Gate. It wouldn't be able to create any kind of narrative-driven game that we like because human creativity is needed for that. Sorry to rant about this, but I just get very up.
That's also why AI kind of fucking blows, and I really hate it when people bring in the argument that like, yeah, the AI is gonna get better. It's like, no, you still need human creativity put in there. You can't just like rely on it exclusively.
The buzzwords that executives use to advertise games
it's the same thing, basically.
Not the buzzwords that actual gamers tend to care about. I've met so many people who love video games who don't care about the buzzword of the week or the buzzword of the year. And then I've met
MSUs, monthly users,
that are involved in their creation who absolutely bloody love buzzwords because they can't wait for the next amazing big breakthrough thing. It's like how every 10 years Hollywood tries to make 3D cinema happen, and people that are going to the cinema don't necessarily want that. Business people are...
Oh my god. Actually, this is kind of a tangent, but when they started pumping out 3D movies constantly, I went to go to a movie, right, with my friends. This was like, I don't know, like 10 years ago probably. I was in school and I went to a movie theater and I said, "Hey, can I watch this movie in not in 3D because it hurts my eyes. I have to wear glasses on top of glasses because I'm short-sighted. I can't see far away very well. It starts to get blurry." And they said, "No, sorry, this movie doesn't exist in non-3D. They don't have that." And I'm like, and that was a recurring theme too. Like, it wasn't, and I wasn't trying to blame the people selling me the tickets either. I'm not a Karen or anything like that, but like, it just kind of blew my mind that they don't make the shit. You have to watch it in fucking 3D. I don't want to watch it in 3D. I don't want to. It's usually fucking dog shit, man. Yeah, it's like so bad. It's like unnecessary and it just piles on more shit on top of it. It's the same thing, like, I guess it's kind of a tangent, but it's also not.
Not always gamers. And when you meet someone who is a business person and a gamer, they tend to understand. They tend to get it.
Hobbit 3D was garbo.
Like,
yeah, why make Hobbit into 3D? Why?
By someone who plays it. You have
so bad.
Larian and Baldur's Gate 3 being designed by people who play it. You have games designed by people who play games.
It lessens the enjoyment, by the way, too.
Really good games. Let's just have a quick chat back up. It's funny we appreciate these older games more than the new ones because back then developers actually... I think developers realized that they couldn't outsource or procedurally generate anything, and so they had to put it in. Maybe this
a little bit of effort, yeah.
If you know that you can create a huge amount of quantity without a lot of effort, then you create a huge amount of quantity, and then you just put small bits of quality throughout it, which means you end up with a big game with little bit.
And then people try to cope with you and tell you, "Hey, there's the next part, like in 50 hours you can get to this next little bit of awesome gaming." Whereas like in Baldur's Gate 3, you're just like constantly like bang, 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 that was awesome, that was awesome. There might be like sucky parts, but still. Massive piss.
9 months Bog. Sorry I couldn't be here. I'm at my parents' for my brother's birthday. Hour and 4 minutes in a car match.
Yay! Thank you, Bond. Thank you so much, man. Don't worry about it. Don't fucking apologize, man. It's fucking wild when people apologize to me like, "I'm sorry I couldn't be there. I'm gonna visit. My dog is dying." And I'm like, take care of yourself first. My stream is not like #1 priority. But anyway, thank you so much for the 9 months. Also, you have a first badge now, by the way. No, Soul, Bond. Look. You have a founder badge now because I removed some people that were never in chat ever. Now Alana will take your pee-pee. No.
Bits of quality here and there. Now to the player, that'll feel like a really big game with some bits of quality. But there is filler between the quality. There is the procedural generation.
Please don't do that, no.
Back when you couldn't do that, every bit of the game had to be quality. Like every single bit of the game was like, right, this can't be filler because this takes time to make, so we may as well just make this good. If we're going to design this anyway, why don't we design this in a way that actually does or says something? I think, to me, a good game that does and says something every level would be Future Cop LAPD. Every level in Future Cop is good. There is very little filler in that game, if any at all. Games like Rayman, every level was trying to do something. Even games like Tomb Raider, every level was trying to do something. Procedural generation is a great way to save time and create a lot of stuff that might not necessarily be high quality. But then you have games.
You can literally replace the word video games with food and it's literally the same analogy. Like interchangeable from one another. Why make a bunch of fucking slop, like disgusting food, like, and then like have little sprinkles of like delicious food in between? Like, why would you do that? There's not necessary.
That use procedural generation to just create something. But I don't necessarily think that's filling in the
I'd eat
gaps
slop, I eat
between
anything.
the good gameplay.
Blizzard
That is
fanboy.
several good gameplay components all being thrown together. Like, if Starfield could procedurally generate planets, and every planet was absolutely jam-packed with stuff to do, cool. Now, I am also aware that there is a beauty, a power, if you will, a level of impressiveness.
Procedurally generated cheeseburger. Yum,
in Final Fantasy
tasty.
14, you're like, holy crap, this is huge. This is massive. This is really impressive. You ride out into the desert or the ocean in any game, and you're like, you know what? This is a lot of nothing, and this is impressive. That can be impressive in itself if it's one big lot of nothing.
Yes, yes, yes.
The danger comes when you are filling in every single part of your game between the quality bits.
Pacing? Yeah, I mean, pacing always is.
They're like, hey, this bit's good, this bit's good, this bit's good. And they're all connected.
Burger's so good. Gang, 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 gang.
I mean, okay, why don't we just get rid of those bits of nothing? Just put all the good bits next to each other.
Together.
All the good bits right there.
It's like putting a pile of shit in between your burger, you know?
Intense. And I like that. Modern games don't have many limits outside of man hours and budget, so old games working around limits. That's true. Do you find that limits breed creativity? I think they do.
Yeah, someone was bringing up in another video about Resident Evil 4 being limited in technology, and that's how they made the game good, because they had to make something out of the shit of the game, you know? Like, out of the necessity.
Limits breed creativity. If you are forced to adhere to a limit, you will find a way to work within that limit, and this often makes you more creative. That's one thing that I used to teach when I was teaching theatre all the time.
Silent Hill? No, it was Resident Evil 4.
Like, oh, we need to have a shootout, but we can't afford the guns, or oh, we need. It was an audio limited
limit. It was an audio limitation, and it was Resident Evil 4. I remember that 100%. It was recent.
But we can't make it look real. We need to have an explosion happen right now, but we don't have the pyrotechnics to show an explosion. Okay, cool. Limits are problems, and as you've just said in the chat, which is perfect, this is a way that we need to solve the problem. It was you can add a certain charm.
What it was.
For example, Monty Python, that's a great example. Deeper, you and me are going to the same place in this one. Monty Python could not afford horses when they were doing Monty Python and the Holy Grail, so they got the coconuts. They solved the problem, and it was amazing. Have you seen this is one I always go to. Have you seen the original Deadpool film?
The coconuts, yeah. Actually, I've heard that before.
It was meant to end with a shootout scene, but they ran out of budget and realized they couldn't do the shootout scene. So you know that scene where Wade realizes that he's left the guns in the taxi and they can't do the shootout, and he just says, fine, maximum effort, walks forward and draws for the melee fight. That was because they couldn't afford all the guns for the
Whereas now, when you run out of budget, you can't finish the game, and then you release a pile of shit. I love it, man. I love it.
So they just wrote
People
into
are
the film,
so fucked, man.
Wade forgets the guns. And then they go in and just do an actual melee thing instead. But it worked really well. That's a great example of a limit being forced to follow into a... There was another one. I mean, here's an example. Who has seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail? I know this is, again, everyone's showing my age, but I'm hoping you will have done because it's a great film. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. My dad made me watch it when I was a little kid. How does it end? How does it end?
I don't really remember.
It's a strange... Been a long time. When you think about it, like, hang on, how does that end, that film? Police drive in and arrest everyone. Do you know why they put that in? It's a cop-out.
Yeah, I remember.
They couldn't work out how to end the film well. So they said, you know what? We'll just do a cop-out ending, which is slang for we'll do it badly. It's a literal cop-out because they had the police come in and arrest everyone.
I remember now. That's why I could remember. It was so fucking, like, it was silly.
Of solving a problem. Here's another example. And again, I can go on about examples in film and TV all day. Have you seen Always Sunny in Philadelphia? I adore Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I think it's fantastic. One of the best written and best acted TV shows ever made. I think it's absolutely fantastic. There is an episode, I think it's the end of season 6 or season 7, that takes place entirely within a laser tag arena. They ran out of budget. They totally ran out of budget, dude! And they had to do an episode entirely in one location. That's all they had. So they just went, right, we're going to write this with just actors.
And still was really funny. That's so crazy.
Have I seen it now? Yes, I have. I've watched most of it, and I think it's fantastic. Budget limitations and budgets are great, and I think what's happening is massive, huge AAA studios are realizing that they don't have limitations anymore, and so they are not being forced to find the creative solutions.
What is that? Laziness breeds something, or what's that quote? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? There's no Saw is just in a fucking bathroom. Yeah, and now the Saw movies are a joke. Like, they're not good anymore. That's also another good point. The Saw, like, you can analog it as well. Not analog it. You can make an analogy out of the Saw movies as well, man. Limit breeds imitations. Wait. Limits breed innovation? No, it was something like laziness breeds something. I'd have to look it up, but
used to have to come up with. I mean, what happens?
Because they are being lazy, because everything is handed to them now, in a way.
Refuses to accept working within limitations, and instead constantly creeps the scale of its own game. Constant scope creep, constant feature creep. You get
comfort breeds weakness. That's a leak quote, I'm pretty sure.
When a company, when a creative in any industry refuses to accept limitations, you end up...
Laziness breeds procrastination? I guess, yeah, because that's what happened with Anthem as well.
Constantly reaching for more and more and more and more and more, and never discovering the heart, the honesty, the truth, the genuine passion that will come from overcoming those limitations. That to me is a real shame, genuinely.
Hard times create strong men creates easy times creates weak men, and weak men creates hard times. Complacency breeds mediocrity. That was it, man. Fuck, that was finally what I was getting at. Yes, that was it. Laziness breeds procrastination, procrastination breeds complacency, and complacency breeds mediocrity. That was fucking it. Thanks. Yeah, anyway, that's the quote I was looking for, and it's totally, like, that is the epitome of video game. Like, that is the epitome of AAA gaming, basically.
It really is. AAA...
He was trying to get me to say a naughty word because he's fucking stupid and thinks I'm 5.
Big budget just means throw more loot boxes in, no limitations needed. Silent Hill 1. They could not render the entire game on the PlayStation hardware. So what did they do? They added in fog.
Artists aren't hungry anymore.
Best choice they made.
I mean, yeah, I guess you could say that
Limitations. Breeding creativity.
That was a good video. Had a lot of philosophical, you know, connotations to it. I like Josh Strife Hayes. He's very smart. Very well-spoken individual. Not literal hungry. Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. It's the same thing as limitation breeds creativity. It's the same thing where, like, you want to show the vision of your what is it called? Of your like the vision in your head, and you want it to make it reality so bad that you will do anything to overcome it. That's the whole, like, premise of it. So yeah, clappers. Very nice video to end on. Mommy! Piss. Shit! Piss. Fuck. Fucking shit on calm. Piss myself. Fuck. Piss. Fuck. Piss.